Someone didn't turn the volume down. We should really get on him for that.
My bad.
That guy.
Crazy
Oh
kids.
my
Crazy
gosh.
kids. Guys, welcome to Testing Normal. This is Curtis.
This is Jordan.
This podcast where we talk about anything and everything we want to.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, boy. Dude, what a week, man. What a week it has been.
What a week.
First of all,
You've been busy.
I've been very busy. Well, we both have been busy,
Yeah.
right?
I've
but
just
in
had
different
a lot of people
ways.
visiting. And an anniversary and a 15-year-old turning 15.
You've had multiple birthdays,
been
anniversaries, people visiting, and I've been busy with home projects and work.
Yeah.
And a little bit of birthday situations, I guess. But
Absolutely.
so my projects are mostly wrapped up for like the moment.
Yeah.
I'm sure new ones will come to me, but the major projects are wrapped up, so that feels really good. I really enjoy like Craftsman Projects, dude.
Yeah?
I've just like been getting more and more into them. I've been doing bigger and bigger and bigger projects.
You've done well, too, though. I mean, like, you've made some cool-looking stuff.
Thanks, man. It'd be fun to find a way to do it as a side hobby, but then I wonder if I would enjoy it as much.
Kind of right now it is a side hobby.
A profitable side hobby.
Oh, a profitable. So that's not a hobby anymore. That's a business.
Yeah, a side hustle. Then,
Side
I guess
hustle.
you call that,
Yeah.
right?
I think so. I've never done that.
Yeah. So that's an interesting thing. I don't know. I might start looking into that a little bit, but I don't know if I have enough time either. So,
You've got ample free time.
ample. That's a good
With-
word. Ample.
With 3 kids and
Yeah.
endless home projects.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to see. But dude, this week I don't know how tolerant you are to hot weather, but all my Oregonians out there right now, we're rolling in the high 80s, right? Was it close to
Dude,
90 today?
Sitting right now, it's 82. It was 88 when I left for your house.
Yeah. So I'm sure it got to 90 in some locations around here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a lightweight. I know I have family and friends
I'm a
out
lightweight.
I have family and friends out in Missouri,
Not built to
and
tolerance.
they're rolling in the 90s regularly. With,
Oh, yeah.
with like 80% humidity.
Christmas
whatnot.
time, like Santa comes in his swim trunks.
Right? Yeah. But I can't handle it.
Yeah?
I'm weak, man. I can't be out in 90-degree weather for more than a
I
few.
think I'm better at it if I
minutes.
work my way into it. If I'm in an
If you
air-conditioned
acclimate.
house
Mhm.
and then I run outside to do something, it's terrible.
Yeah.
But if I start work in the morning and I work your way into the heat,
yeah, that's
good. I'm good.
That's different. Yeah, that's
yeah.
true.
And I definitely lived in the South for like 6 months, and it was hot.
Yeah.
And the heat here was very tame for a while until I got used to here again.
Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
lived in the same humidity for many years too, and it was I think
I
that
wouldn't say it's enjoyable, but it's more
not enjoyable,
tolerable.
but you know, it's not the heat. I don't really like super super hot heat, but I've actually started to enjoy humidity a little bit more.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I feel like
It's
it feels
because your eyes.
maybe it probably is my eyes actually. It
Yeah.
helps my eyes not feel as dry.
Yeah.
But
If you guys are wondering, that's what's going on with the eyes.
I got
here.
cool glasses on.
Yeah.
But humidity, I don't know. It feels good on my bones. It feels good on the bones. Like, I don't know. It feels like I'm in a sauna.
I don't know if
And
you
I
like
think I'm
want to go
liking-
shouting that in public or
I
anything.
think I'm liking saunas more, you know?
Really?
I don't have one, but I
was
want to
gonna
get
say,
one.
Have you been in one?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think the last time I was in a sauna. No, I had a sauna, like a dry sauna.
Mhm.
Last
Was it
time I was-
infrared?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the last time I was in like a wet sauna? I don't know what you call it. A damp one.
Yeah.
I passed
A
out.
humidified one.
I
Really?
Totally passed out. Yeah.
Whoa,
I
dude.
hadn't eaten anything that day, and then I had just run a 5K. And I was like, it'd be fun to go in here. I was with my cousin. I was like, I'm getting kind of warm. I'm going to step out and cool off for a second. And the next thing I knew, he was cradling my head. And I was like, how did you get here? And he's just like this close to my face. It's just like, I recognized him, so it wasn't too uncomfortable. I was like, man, he's like, I'm going to go get you some water. And then the
So
next
wait,
thing I
did
remember,
you
he was
wake up-
cradling me again.
Did you wake up and your head was in his lap?
Yeah. Like
Was he petting you?
No, just forward.
Just
So, but what
Did he say my
what had happened was I had leaned against there was a hot tub outside. There's like a fence, in front of it, and I'd leaned against it. I guess he was looking out the sauna door, and he just saw me fall backwards and my head bounce on the concrete.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so he was cradling my head because he was afraid I'd hurt it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Dude, that's intense.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear about all these like health benefits of saunas, like heat shock proteins,
Yeah.
right? And then same thing with cold cryotherapy
Yeah.
too.
Stressing your body for short amounts of time is really good for it.
Yeah, I would be able to handle probably it for short periods of time.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's something different about being outside in the hot heat
For sure.
and being active versus sitting in
Well,
the hot sauna.
I think the difference is the sun.
The radiation.
It's the radiation, but the heat that it produces is like just different. When it's hitting
cooking.
you, you're literally being cooked.
Right.
Whereas like when you're in a sauna, you're not getting that radioactive burn.
Well, like today. So today I took my son out this morning. Like I tried to take him out at like before it started getting super hot. So we left here probably around like 9 a.m.
Yeah.
And we went to this really cool place in Salem. Everybody out there that lives in Salem, you should go to the Greer Park.
Gear Park. There's only one R on the
Queer?
end. Not
Greer?
Park. Sorry, you know
Greer?
Queer. You're gonna get us demonetized.
Gear Park
on State and Hawthorne,
right next to the Army.
Yeah, it's one of the
station,
National Guard bases.
and also there's a penitentiary close to there too.
Yeah,
right. But
it's
anyways,
it's between the National Guard radio station and the state penitentiary.
Yeah, great spot.
Super good
spot.
Neighborhood.
But they have a phenomenal pump track there.
Yeah.
And it has like concrete pump track, but then it has dirt in between.
So describe to me what a pump track is.
Pump track is like little hills that your bike can ride on and that you can kind of jump in certain areas, but also you don't have to. Like you can go around the whole track by pumping your handles and not pedaling if you want to.
You push down and pull up. It works kind of like a roller coaster does with the inertia or a swing. Like can you swing your legs.
Super cool though.
Super fun.
Super fun. So I took my son out. He'd never been on one of these before, and he crushed it. Like, he was taking the biggest pump tracks.
Literally, he crushed the basket on his bike.
But then, I had built a basket, and he crushed it. So I've rebuilt his bike basket like 6 times now.
I came in today, and it's just got clamps all over.
Yeah.
It's like, pump track?
Yep, pump track. So anyways, but by 10 o'clock, it was like the black asphalt, right, from the pump track was just pumping the heat on us.
So
hot.
I
was just like, okay, buddy. And his face was just beet red, flushed. He's like, Dad, I'm so hot. I'm like, okay, buddy.
Yeah, and there's no shade over there.
No shade,
like,
But it was a really, really fun thing. I would recommend anybody take your kids out to a pump track, man.
I walked down to my because I've been working from home. I walked down to get the mail because my wife's like, hey, there's some mail in the mailbox, and she's leaving. I was like, I'll just walk down there. I used to go barefoot all the time as a kid. So I walked down to my mailbox with my bare feet. And by the time I got to the mailbox, it's like, this really hurts my feet really bad.
Scorched.
And they were scorched on the bottom, and I almost called my kids to bring me my shoes.
Oh, my God.
It was that bad. And I was like, never mind. I'll just grab the mail and run. And so I did. And that night, I had burn blisters on the bottoms of my feet.
Oh, my gosh. Dude,
yeah.
Okay, so what is going on the street across from your road? It's like there's a sign saying this road is paid for by gas money or something like that.
They repaved.
Yeah, but why is it saying like part of this was funded by gas money?
Because it's saying like it's telling you that the gas tax is actually going towards roads like it's supposed to.
Okay, but the funny thing about that, this fairly decent sized sign that people can see, and it's like maybe 50-yard strip.
No, it goes way in.
Does it go way in?
Yeah,
it looks like it's just like a 50-yard
strip. No, they
strip.
repaved a ton in that whole neighborhood.
Oh.
And it needed it. It was pretty bad.
But that's a fairly new neighborhood, so I'm surprised
it is,
needed
but
it.
I think that it was just like they just kicked, like, I don't know what they call it, like just like sealed the top or whatever. Anyway, it goes way in.
Oh,
and we went riding on bikes there. If you want to go someone that's really smooth and fast to ride bikes right now, I rode through like that whole neighborhood with no hands.
Longboard would be fun there.
Yes. There was people longboarding down there because it's so smooth right now.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's amazing.
Dude, okay, interesting thing about taxes. I'm going to throw this out there for you guys.
Do it.
There's an interesting tax that's being implemented in multiple states right now. Some of those states include states and like cities are implementing these taxes too. Like it's not the whole state, but certain cities more so.
Dang taxes.
What was that?
Dang taxes. You can't escape them.
I'm trying to pull it up here so I can show you. So there's an interesting tax going on, and they're taxing. It's a soda tax.
Yes.
Okay. So
I actually saw this article. I did not put it in here.
It's very interesting.
So I'm glad you did.
So a lot of countries are doing this other than U.S. too. So like the UK, Mexico, and a bunch of U.S. cities like Philadelphia, San Francisco are putting a tax on sugary drinks,
right,
and soda.
It's fine for me. I don't drink any of them.
It is fine for you, right? Because you don't drink them. But it brought up an interesting question of, is this a fair thing to be doing to individuals that are poor socioeconomics, right?
Yeah.
Because they have a harder time affording these types of things.
Did this one talk about the health gap?
Yes.
Okay.
But then it talked about the health impacts of it.
Yeah.
And how, in general, it's actually majority of the population. They had a study of 25,000 people.
Yeah.
And out of those 25,000 people, as your wealth increased, your consumption of sugary drinks decreased.
Yes.
Like, dramatically.
Yeah.
And
it's because you start to care about living life.
well, right. You have a little bit.
I've been there.
You have a little bit more discretion as
Yeah.
far as time, but then also you have a little bit more. You can afford maybe something that's a little healthier, right?
Well, is it that, or is it like? I mean, it's no like people know even that drink it.
Well,
this doesn't do good things for me.
Well, here's kind of a.
It
big
doesn't
part of
make me feel good.
Well,
right.
It does make them feel good in the moment.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. So that's my point. Like they know most people know from a logical standpoint, this is not good for me, and it doesn't help me in my health or make me feel good. But are they trying to escape or use it as a tool to?
I think this is
dissociate or
I think
something.
Not necessarily dissociate, but as a tool to. As a way to enjoy the moment more. Yeah. Because
it's inexpensive.
And you can enjoy it, and it tastes good. It makes you feel good in the moment.
But then because you know those things, as your life becomes better, not that money buys happiness, but
in a way it does.
But neither does being poor.
Right.
But as your life becomes better, you
increases
begin
the quality of life.
You start to think about those things. You're like, oh, you make better choices. It's like when you start to exercise, you choose better things to eat.
Right, exactly.
And you become healthy in your mind, and it affects all these different areas.
But your wealth impacts your ability to exercise in some situations.
Yeah.
And it impacts your ability to do the research or to have the opportunities to have a healthier lifestyle.
Right.
And so they were saying that if we implement this tax, hopefully we will make it more difficult for the poor people to become
just struggling over there
to become fat,
yeah,
and have diabetes and have all these negative health impacts.
Right.
But it does feel a little bit sketchy. Like on the inside, you feel a bit like, oh, we're charging people more money that have less money.
Yeah.
Because we want to change, or the government or the states or the cities want to change the way these people choose to live their life. And that feels a little bit like.
Although, like the world we live in right now is like wear a mask because it's compassionate. Don't do it because you necessarily agree or don't agree. Like do it for the greater good. If we really, really stand behind that, you also have to like concede the fact that if you do tax something higher, it's better for the greater good.
But I think a lot of the people that argue against the masks, right?
Yeah.
They would, in the inverse, probably have a difficult. Or they would probably say, tax the tax the fatties, and tax the poor people.
And if you stand back and like look at it with no emotion, they're the same thing. Mm-hmm. They really are.
Yeah.
Or at least they're similar. I wouldn't say they're exactly the same.
So that's
thing.
an
But
interesting.
They're similar mindset. It's just different side of the beach ball in the opinion.
But
or perspective.
I think what's interesting about that is that when somebody says, "Oh, you're trumping on my liberties, you're trumping on these different things," you could find an argument that they would have the same opinion for in a different circumstance.
I've heard that
or they would have the opposite
Oregon's
opinion in the same circumstance.
I've heard rumor that Oregon's going to be upping the cigarette tax again, like significantly.
Really?
And then also taxing vape, which I thought they did already, and they don't.
Oh, I didn't know
They don't tax vape products.
I wonder if they're changing alcohol tax in.
I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know. That's more of an uppity thing, so they don't want to get taxed.
I think alcohol does automatically have some form of an extra tax.
It does, yeah, for
not
sure.
How much?
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so that was kind of like an interesting.
Speaking of places that don't get taxed,
socioeconomic thing.
Amazon.
Amazon doesn't get taxed.
Well, yeah, they don't pay taxes.
Right. They find a way to get out of it. Right.
But that's my segue to Amazon. Apparently, sent emails out to a handful of employees saying that if you get company email on your phone, you are forbidden from having TikTok installed.
Whoa.
So at first I read it. These are work phones that we're telling you not to have TikTok on. And it's not. It's
That's
saying
reasonable.
if on your personal phone you access work email, you must not have TikTok installed.
Can they?
So that was the first bit. And then they came out and said, that was an error. We didn't actually mean to send that out. Just disregard.
Oh, so basically they thought we were going to try to get away with this, and then they got too much heat, and then they said, let's
But it
back
says
up.
a lot about it. Like, so some people assume that, or are supposing that they meant to send out to higher level execs who get confidential emails because they don't want TikTok robbing data from other apps.
Could TikTok steal your emails?
In theory, it could get anything on your phone if they wrote it the right way.
No way.
Yeah.
That is wild. That's
wild. So
wild.
I actually am of the opinion if they find that an app is actually doing that, which they really have found that TikTok is malicious in that way, I think it's a smart move.
Dude, TikTok is on fire right now.
Yeah.
On fire.
I had never, we saw Instagrammers in Rome and stuff. And
Yeah.
that was obnoxious enough. But they're just kind of harmless. TikTokers are annoying. They do their dances and stuff, and they do them in their random places.
Doing the dances in
I had
public
not
places
seen
is
one
annoying.
until I was at Pioneer Park here.
Yeah.
And I went by the bridge, and there were these high school girls doing and they kept getting mad that we rode our bikes by. And I'm like, look, take TikTok I wanted to stop and say, take TikTok off your phone right now. They're tracking everything that you do, and nobody's actually watching.
They're going to say, okay, boomer. That's what they'd say.
Yeah, for sure.
TikTok's interesting. It is kind of a fun thing because of the fact it's a way of satisfying a quick, short dopamine release in your head, right? It's these really satisfying, quick, short, funny video or fun video or something like that.
Just go get some sugary drink.
Or go get a sugar drink, right?
Yeah.
But the
Full circle.
The malicious aspect of it is wild, man. It'd be really interesting to talk to David about this.
Yeah.
To see if he's looked into it and what his company has thought about with TikTok.
Well, speaking of him, for those of you that don't know, it was my brother-in-law. We had him on here talking about this
passed a little test, didn't he?
I did talk to him about this week.
Yeah.
And that there is a bunch of VPNs, so Flash VPN, UFO VPN, and a couple other ones locked. They leaked 1.2 terabytes of private information. Now, what I understand is a lot of these are based in China because people that are in China have quite literally, I'm not making this up, the Great Firewall of China, which is just what you would think. It blocks just anything that the government doesn't want their people to see. But they use these VPNs to be able to see what we all see in the rest of the world. These VPN providers that work in China and that these people pay to remain anonymous and get their internet and see the things that their government's not letting them see have leaked their information out to the public so that the government could see who they are and what they're looking at.
Why do you think the government, or why do you think those
organizations
did that?
They were considered quote unquote no log VPNs, meaning they don't keep logs of what people do. So they don't keep historical data
of
where people have been and what websites they go to and who those people are. But they were. And there was a vulnerability found, and somebody got the information and leaked it.
Are U.S. VPNs? Do most of them keep logs?
They will specifically state that if they do or don't. Most of them do not.
Interesting.
Because they don't want to be. They're there specifically to keep people.
Feels
anonymous.
like contradicting the purpose of having a VPN in a way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like having your iPhone be able to be locked and the government can't get into it, and the government saying we want a backdoor. Well, then it's not secure.
Right. It's not fully locked then.
Yeah. No matter what side of the fence you fall on that, if there is a backdoor, it's not secure. It's just a matter of getting the key to that backdoor.
But even then, it's still not secure, even though they said it was locked, because that one, I don't know, terrorist situation, right? They wanted to get that guy's iPhone, get into a situation, the guy in California. Yeah. And but Apple said, no, we won't give it to you, but the government had the phone, but then they went to a company in Israel, right? And then Israel still got into the phone. So it's
because it had an old software that they had found a vulnerability in, and they were able to hack into it. So Apple said, we're not going to help you hack into it.
Oh, okay.
But there's, just like any software, there's always vulnerabilities. Someone found it. So if a newer phone came out, that same vulnerability would not work. It would have probably been
interesting. So that's why it's always important to update your software.
Yes.
Right? When they send out those software
updates. We had this happen this week where I work. We had sent out messages to people saying, hey, update your iPhones. There was a major vulnerability found in 13.5 of iOS.
Oh, really?
there was a minimum requirement of 13.5.1, and some people didn't do it, and their phones got wiped automatically by the system.
Whoa.
Because it was
wild.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
So those are like state phones.
Yes, they're not people's personal.
Because they can't.
No.
Right. Wipe person's personal phone.
Right.
But like your phone, yours is not a state phone, is it?
I have a state phone.
You have a state phone.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's
my work phone.
But like your personal phone, do you get work emails from your personal phone?
No.
Oh, really? Interesting.
I mean, I could. We're not supposed to. That's why I have
so like
the other
I
phone.
get all my work emails from my phone.
Uh-huh.
But they've downloaded like 6 different apps or something like that. Probably
Yeah.
security apps or something.
Yep. Yeah, that's one way to do it.
Interesting.
So it's just different policies in different places. So yeah, it's the whole VPN thing I think is interesting in light of everything that China has been doing with their people and locking everything
Well,
down.
with the world in kind of chaos and craziness going on, the internet still is providing kind of a fun stress relief for people right now.
Oh yeah.
There's this kind of a cool thing going on. Iceland is pretty clever, actually. Iceland is...
I would love to go to Iceland someday.
I would too. All right. So they're offering this...
Do you think
it'd be fun to
Bjork
take the
would let us
ladies.
stay there?
It'd be fun to take the ladies real quick.
Bjork would let us stay there, right?
Yes.
I'll just give her a call.
Yeah. Holler up.
She's not strange.
Holla, holla, holla. But this tour group, or not really tour group, I guess company, whatever,
Yeah.
is having people, they've put throughout Iceland in kind of more remote areas, they've put these large yellow microphone speakers in multiple spots throughout Iceland, okay?
Okay.
And you can go onto this website and then you can scream or say whatever you want for like, it's like a 6-second kind of clip that you record. And then you pick your location and then you press play, and then it actually projects that sound through those speakers in Iceland. So you're like screaming or whatever type of relief you want. Like it's shooting these through these like into these like beautiful areas of
Anything?
Iceland. Yeah. Like you can go onto the website now and make a recording and it'll go through those speakers.
Like a city or off in the middle of nowhere?
No, it's like these beautiful destinations out kind of in the middle of nowhere.
That is
in
kind of
Iceland.
funny.
It's kind of cool though, because it's like I'm projecting my voice out into Iceland right now.
Right.
Like that's kind of a cool thought.
Did you do it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Me and my kids both did.
Really?
Yeah, we were all sitting.
Can you listen to it, or you just
Yeah,
know
you
it
can hear it.
happens?
Yeah.
What? That's funny.
It's kind of clever.
Yeah.
And so they were saying, like, they were showing these beautiful spots, saying, hey, if you come to Iceland, you can see these places. Come visit.
That's pretty genius.
That's pretty
I like
genius,
it.
I thought.
That's a cool. I mean, they're not gonna let anyone in right now, but like
No,
someday.
they're trying to. Well, they're letting people in, but I don't know how many people from the U.S. they're letting in.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Nobody like trusts us right now.
Right.
It's just, yeah. So okay. So this I found this in Unpopular Opinions. I'm not always a big fan of this subreddit. Because I think sometimes there aren't actually unpopular opinions. They're unpopular to say opinions that most people hold. But this one was interesting, and it's something that I'd thought about. And the title of it was that deleting old media that has blackface in it, or think of like old cartoons that are today would be considered overtly racist, and I think that they were racist then as well. Think like Brer Rabbit and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying that these things that contain this stuff, deleting that old media is one step closer to us erasing other pieces of history and is akin to Orwell's 1984. And he goes on to explain something that I've thought about. While offensive to have some of those things, if you delete them, we forget who we were and the mistakes that we made, and we can't learn from them anymore. And so like there's
interesting.
There's some old cartoons that play, and I think even Disney Plus does this now, but there's a couple different streaming platforms that do not edit, like old Tom and Jerry or old cartoons, but they put a disclaimer up at the beginning that says, hey, this is from a different time, and basically kind of explains what's happening and lets it go. And so it gives it the face of, we don't agree with what this is, but we understand from the perspective of when this was made, we're not going to change it. And I think it's important with those things that we don't forget the mistakes that we made. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And there's a balance there for sure.
Yeah, right. It's a judgment call on those whoever are releasing those videos to see like how offensive are those things, and what are the effects on the kids, right? Because what they're trying to do is balance out: how much of an impression is this gonna leave on the kid? And we've had in a lot of ways we have had positive social growth in standards and expectations,
right?
So by showing these types of videos, is that going to negatively impact potentially the way these kids grow up, right? So I understand the concern as far as deleting or getting rid of certain offensive videos, but in the same respect, it's almost like maybe those videos should have, like you said, be for older demographics, where they could be like, they could see like, oh,
I'm all for putting the disclaimer up, because I think sometimes it's kind of awkward if you don't.
Right, like even like Peter Pan.
Yes.
Like the Indian, the way that how racist they are with the Indians being the big bad Indians, you know, stealing and this.
Absolutely, but if you change that and you took it away and somebody was not allowed to go see that or stream that or to see what it was, even for its historical context of just not that long ago, put the disclaimer on it so that people know, like, hey, we understand that some of this is not right now. Right. And we wouldn't have made it now unless it was like in some like educational way. But we're leaving it as is. I think it's important. I've thought about this like in the context of like kind of the cancel culture that we live in too, where people will just try to go find old things that someone's posted and totally
that's a real
platform them for that. And it's like that person, it's been 10 years and that person has grown. Like They just didn't
really
delete it.
Scare me.
There's been a bunch of YouTubers that have gone and like removed old videos.
Yeah.
Because they're afraid of what people would do.
And there's that standard verbiage. Everybody knows it. You know, yada, yada, yada. If you forget the past, you're doomed to repeat it.
Yep.
Right? And it's a pendulum. So like you're doomed, not necessarily you'll repeat with that exact same ethnic group, but one ethnic group may have the same effect on the next ethnic group, on the opposite ethnic group, and then that opposite ethnic group on the next opposite.
Yeah, because we as humans pendulum swing for sure. For sure. We're like, that didn't work. Let's go over here. Like,
so like it almost feels a little bit like, in a way, when people are pushing to forget and like certain monuments. So this is what I say about like monuments in the southeast, right? Like some of the Confederate monuments. I agree they should not be idolized, the Confederate monuments, but I don't think they should be deleted. I think they should be put in like a museum or something like that.
Guthmary Cardoza? Say hello to Sao Paulo, Brazil. Hello.
I don't know why I'm not seeing comments. I'm not seeing the comments on this.
I deleted it. I didn't delete it. I moved that. If you're saying for us to say hello to you, hello to you.
Hello to you. But yeah, so I would have maybe a little bit of a recommendation as far as like deleting certain monuments, those sort of things. Maybe instead of deleting them, putting them in a museum, right? Mm-hmm. Instead of like burning them, destroying them, putting them in a museum so people could recognize that this was a situation where these individuals fought for this specific thing
and learned from it,
and we learned from it, right?
Yeah.
Rather than having a motivation to completely delete those things.
Absolutely.
You know. And that always, I mean, it just brings me back to the Holocaust. I mean, it sounds dramatic, but it makes me nervous when I've heard people, you know, refuting that it happened, right? Like I've listened to Vice, I've watched Vice episodes where people have, you know, said this is all a conspiracy.
Right.
So that makes me nervous.
Well, it's like we didn't land on the moon either.
Well, that's a different thing. That's a different thing, the moon landing, because I'm not sure if I believe that. But...
And the Earth is flat.
That's actually okay. The not landing on the moon is actually a really fun conspiracy to go deep in. I went down that rabbit hole several times, and I would look into it. People, just look into it. That's all I'm saying. Just check it out. It's an interesting conspiracy theory. There's a movie actually.
Was it Neil deGrasse Tyson? Does a really good job of like.
He was on Joe Rogan actually, I think, and talked about it.
Yeah, and he does a good job of like refuting the people that don't think it happened. I'm like, he's a pretty smart guy.
Yeah, he's okay. He's okay.
I mean, he's, you know, just a little bit.
Yeah.
But, anyway, did you hear about? I actually just read this today. I found it hysterical. Actually, Twitch has been on a roll, like banning the president for a while and all that, but now. They They're forcing the U.S. Army to stop tricking viewers with fake giveaways. So people are watching live streams and it's like, win a free Xbox controller. Like this is exactly what happened. Win a free Xbox controller, and if you click on it, it takes you to an Army recruiter website, not a contest.
What? Sketch.
Like, okay, are you really that desperate?
And of course they're aiming towards, right, that younger graphics, right?
Yeah.
Like
I mean, it's like what was it, the Army whatever, they put out a video game that was free to play years ago that people could
Is it like a Call of Duty game?
Yeah, it was like a Call of Duty game that they had paid to make, and they made it free
Smart.
to play before free to play was free to play. And it was a recruiting tool, but they got a free game out of it. There was no like BSing about it. They were like,
you're not getting a free remote when you click on this ad.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's sketchy. Dude, sketchy. Speaking of sketchy, did you hear about the crazy thing that happened to Dale Earnhardt Jr.
No.
this last week?
I can only imagine.
Yeah. Interesting situation. He was flying because he's like part of NASCAR's like management now or whatever because he's retired from racing.
Right.
But he was flying with him and his family, and they were landing in, where was it? I think it was Tennessee. They were landing in, where was it? Yeah, Tennessee. They were landing at an airport, a municipal airport in Tennessee. Anyways, and the airplane, when they basically, the pilot landed too hard when he went down.
Oh, yeah.
And it broke off one of the wheels on the back right side, and it started sliding, and so the plane slid off the runway down a hill for 400 feet.
What?
Crossed a 25-foot wide creek bed, and then ended up sliding back up a hill and slammed to a stop at a chain link fence at the edge of a highway. And so that's crazy enough as it is, right?
Right.
But in that situation, they couldn't get any of the emergency doors open, and there was a fire that started taking place in the back.
Of course.
Bathroom.
Also,
somehow in the bathroom,
they were transporting a polar bear.
A polar bear and a heart,
and it
for
was going through just
heart,
eating people.
and a heart for transplant. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so their fire started breaking out in the bathroom in the back of the
gosh.
private jet, and then they couldn't get. They tried like 2 different emergency hatches and they wouldn't open. So the pilot, the main like hatch door, they ended up. He started kicking it really hard and was able to kick it open to like the size of like they said like a oven door opening wide. And so then they
better not be overweight riding on that plane that day.
Yeah, seriously. So they were all like. Nobody died, but it was just like this crazy crash with like.
Can you imagine driving by and seeing that come to the fence?
Yeah, you're beyond the highway. Literally, you see this plane sliding towards you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I heard about that. I was just like, oh, dude, that's a wild situation. I wonder next time when they're going to.
I was hoping you're going to be like, and they couldn't steer it, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. ran to the front and said, boys, I got this. and he totally turned it into a drift.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that would be phenomenal.
That's a better story. Guys, that's what actually happened.
That's the truth right there.
Dale drove the plane on the ground. Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, that's most of the big things I wanted to throw out this week. You got anything you wanted to?
So I have a couple TILs, but
yeah.
One thing I was going to bring up is, so Florida's been getting a lot of flack, right? Because
per usual,
yeah, they've got all these outbreaks and everything.
Right.
And Disney World is now opening back up again, and people are all up in arms. Apparently, so they're requiring face masks, but there was a loophole in that face mask thing. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. What loophole did people find? Well, by law, you don't have to wear a face mask while eating because you can't eat while you're wearing a face mask, right?
Right.
So what people were doing was ordering food.
Yeah.
And
then walking around the park eating.
Keeping it in their hands.
Clever.
So now Disney World has banned eating and walking.
Whoa, that's a big deal. Because Disney, like, it was a big deal to be able to walk around with your churro or corn dog or popcorn or ice popsicles or
ice
popsicles. That's right.
I think that's just an icicle.
Icy. Push pop. There you go. Push pop.
My son the other day made popsicles with just water, and was like super.
Michael?
No, he was super thrilled with himself, and he called them watersicles.
Watersicle.
Like, That's an ice cube, bro.
Yeah, it's an ice cube, but
Like,
that's close.
yeah.
Was it like in the shape of a popsicle though? Like
It was in popsicle molds.
Got
Yeah.
it. Clever
Like
boy.
you just made a big mess, and now you have to clean 8 of these things because you decided to do this.
Well, or he just lets them melt and then.
No, he ate them all, and slobbered all over.
He
them,
did.
and then left them for me to clean. I said, no, son, you are
Thanks,
going to come
buddy.
and do this.
That's hilarious.
Oh,
man. Well, I'll throw out my first TIL for you.
okay.
This one I actually I was really surprised by this.
Okay.
It was. Yeah, I just didn't know. Just didn't know. Today I learned that the founding fathers, more often than not, are usually depicted as like, old dudes, right?
Right.
Or elderly at least. Like when you look at all the pictures,
They're
like
old now
on Wikipedia. Yeah, they're super old now. But during
brain fart.
During the Revolutionary War, right? Right, the Revolution? No,
Sure.
not the Revolution. Independence, when they fought against Great Britain.
Right.
For independence.
That was the Revolutionary War.
In July 4th,
Yeah.
1776, Alexander Burr, famous dude, was only 20. Alexander Hamilton
Yeah.
was 21. James Madison, 25. John Jay, 29.
That's
Thomas
so weird
Jefferson,
That's so weird to think about.
33. So
He was
Alexander
the old
Hamilton,
guy.
when we signed the Declaration of Independence, he was 21.
And wasn't one of them was actually technically the first president. So we accredit
That's so crazy.
we accredit George Washington as being the first president, but he was the first elected president.
Right.
And there was a couple before that we don't count because they weren't elected. But
yeah.
we didn't have like a president for years after 1776.
I was reading a couple comments and they're saying, yeah, well, the white wigs add 30 years.
True.
And 10 pounds.
And the paintings.
And the rosacea on their cheeks.
Yeah.
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 So that was kind of an interesting thought.
Yeah, that is interesting. Today I learned scientists in China have successfully grown tooth enamel, which paves the way to replace fillings and crowns. A chemical mixture applied to whole human teeth.
What? Wait, start over.
Okay. Today Curtis learned scientists in China have successfully grown tooth enamel, which paves the way to replace fillings and crowns.
Oh my God, that's
a chemical
huge
mixture,
for me. I have so many cavities.
I know.
Or I
So
have
a
had.
chemical mixture applied to whole human teeth created an enamel layer 2.7 micrometers thick within 48 hours. Calcium and phosphate ions with triethylene in alcohol, something like that. That's how they did it.
That's not very much over a 24-hour period.
48-hour period.
48
But it grows it in 48 hours. That's actually pretty. Like, if say you had to do it for a week and it was just liquid diet, wouldn't you do that to keep from?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah, cavities are one of
That's
the
my
worst
kids
things
texting me.
that you can have. I hate cavities. They hurt so bad.
Do you have any other TILs?
Nope.
Okay, so today I learned that LBJ, the president, constantly asked the flight crew of Air Force One to change the temperature of the cabin. Eventually, they installed a fake control knob for him to control the temperature himself. The president stopped complaining.
So funny. That's genius. That's genius.
Hey, you got any extra thermostats laying around?
Oh my God.
Yeah, but it's for a house. That'll work perfectly.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's perfect. That's hilarious.
Oh, yes. All right. Shower thoughts.
All right, I'll start off.
Go.
It's kind of a cool thought that our eyes and ears are both processing waves, just in different spectrums.
That is a cool thought.
Light waves, sound waves.
I've been thinking about that for a while.
It's kind of cool.
We all grew up thinking quicksand was going to be a bigger deal than it is.
That's true. That's true. At least not for us where we live.
Yeah.
Let's see. Fruit, just like people, have belly buttons where they were plucked.
So true. The future is the present, just later.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. People are probably using the I don't feel good excuse a lot less likely right now. Or a lot less often right now.
Yeah. Like, I don't feel that good. We're gonna
Really?
take your temperature. Before you
Okay.
come here.
You actually can't come into work anymore. Or you're gonna be out for 2 weeks. Oh,
you're
crap.
done. I think you used this one before, and if you have, I'm just gonna read the next
That's
one.
all right.
Plants can literally taste the rainbow.
No, I like a.
I do too.
I think I may have heard something like that before,
Yeah.
but I like it.
You probably made it up. Here's the real one. The Flash, the superhero, the speedy dude, right,
Right.
would go faster on a bicycle than he would on a motorcycle.
Totally.
That weird
Yeah.
thought.
If the chain could hold up, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. You have a good chain.
Yeah. People worldwide somehow got to the conclusion that butterflies are good, but moths are bad.
It's because they're colorful.
Well, I thought about this quite a bit, actually.
I don't know if I've looked at butterflies up close. They're more terrifying than moths.
They can be, but why does the general population tend to think it's a beautiful thing when a butterfly lands on them, but not a moth? For example, my wife, probably one of her least favorite things in the world are moths.
Really,
She hates moths.
moths do flutter a lot more though.
So
They're like
typically,
banging into
moths
things.
seem to have a faster, flapping rate.
Yeah.
But also, we love hummingbirds, right? So that's not necessarily
Yeah,
it.
but if a hummingbird got close to your face, guaranteed you're gonna freak out.
But I would let one land on my arm more than I would like a moth to. I mean, it'd be intense.
Yeah.
But all that to be said, a moth. Here's why I think people don't like moths. Moths, first of all, seem to be dirtier. Like they have a bunch of dust on them. It seems like,
True.
in comparison to butterflies, where
You
they
know, if you wipe that dust
seem
off,
to
they
have as
can't
much.
fly anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. Also, moths. It seems like majority of the time when we see moths, they're usually at nighttime,
True.
and they're usually flapping around something bright and hitting our faces
True.
more often. Whereas butterflies typically are flying in the daytime, a little bit prettier.
My mom said it's because they let off dust and powder. That's why they're grosser.
Oh,
That's
they
why people
yeah
don't like 'em.
yeah. I agree.
We have a product called mothballs,
and we have
but
a
not-
product called
not-
mothballs,
not butterfly balls.
not butterfly balls. But then, do moths actually eat clothes?
I don't know.
Because I've always heard
Probably.
about this, right?
I've never had this problem.
I've never had this problem.
I think if you leave your clothes long enough to get moth eaten,
then
that's
you're probably not using that.
You're probably not needing.
You probably don't
those
need that
clothes.
clothing item.
No.
Probably not. But butterflies, you don't usually see butterflies hiding in your clothing. But I haven't seen a moth really hide.
I've also seen a lot more clothing with butterflies on it, and not a lot with just moths on it. Like
yes.
the print.
Right. So there's probably a little bit of social engineering going to those two things, but also just butterflies are prettier
True.
in general,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And you don't learn about the moth mice like life cycle as a child. You're like, oh,
Right.
It's
You
like-
don't see Magic School
it's
Bus.
a caterpillar.
You don't see the Magic
and
School
then
Bus
it's
moth.
a chrysalis.
But you know the one thing, this
and
is
then
probably
it
getting a little too
turns to
sci-fi.
goo.
It's a little
and-
bit too sci-fi-ish for people out there. But there is a really famous moth out there.
Is there?
Mothra.
Or the moth?
Mothra from Godzilla. It was like one of the big good guys in Godzilla.
I don't think that's a super popular character.
Well, not yet.
There was a superhero called the Moth, though.
Yeah,
Like-
I think was it on
Oh,
the
no,
Tick? The Tick? Or
No,
something
no,
like that?
it wasn't.
Comic?
It wasn't it on that comedy one with Ben Stiller in it.
I don't know that one.
There was and it was like the guy that like farted.
Oh yeah. What was that? That's a throwback, dude.
Yeah,
That movie.
What
yeah,
movie
there was
was that?
And there was a guy that could turn invisible, but only if nobody looked at him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then the chick with the dead grandpa's skull and the bowling ball.
Right. Oh my god, that was a funny. I want to watch that again.
I do too.
We should totally get a watch party for that.
Yep, we should. We should do
That
that.
would be amazing.
If anyone wants to join us to watch it.
All right, guys. Well, that's it for this week.
Wait. I have a couple more.
Oh, Jordan's got a couple more shower thoughts. Okay, I rattle them off, bro.
Okay. A good chunk of people in the A Quiet Place universe. People don't know what that is, where people have to be quiet. If not, giant monsters come get you. Probably died believing staying silent was against their freedom of speech.
Yes. Yep. That's hilarious.
And then one last one. If dogs understood peanut butter cups, they would find it cruel that we took one of their favorite people foods and stuffed it in a shell of poison.
Very true. That's funny. I like
Your mom
that.
says that the moths will eat your clothes.
Well, I've yet to see that happen.
Me too.
I'm not saying it wouldn't happen, but I'm curious if anybody out there actually has experienced that.
Yeah.
And what environment does that need to be take place in?
And how still does it have to be for a while?
Yeah. That's
Like,
interesting.
how many moths? Like, how much clothes do moths consume?
Yeah, is it like one moth per shirt? Like, what's their diet? Like, how many shirts could a moth eat?
What's in a shirt that a moth wants to eat?
Mostly
like,
cotton, I imagine. I don't think they like the polyester.
It's true. Maybe they avoid it.
Maybe they avoid it. Maybe that's why there's less moth eating clothes nowadays, because there's more polyester.
True. Good point.
Interesting.
They understand BPAs.
Well, our moms apparently know the most about these moths, so
true.
we need to get some learning from them.
Super true. Yeah, we'll contact you guys later to learn.
Sounds good. All right, dude.
All right, guys. Episode 67 in the bag, man.
In the bag. We appreciate y'all. Hope you have a great week. Stay classy out there. We'll talk to you later.
Stay classy, San Diego.
Stay classy, Willamette Valley.
Haha, see ya.
Peace.